University of the Commonwealth Caribbean has relaunched the UCC Student Referral Program. Students, alumni, and staff can earn up to 50% in commission or tuition credits by referring prospective students to study at the UCC. That's up to 100,000 Jamaican dollars per student. Start earning today by following these 3 easy steps. Join referral program, promote your unique link, and collect your earnings. Sign up and start earning. Visit ucc.edu.jm today.
your host and moderator for today. Today promises to be a very good one with lots of information and lots of giveaway. So we thank you that you chose no other place to be but to be here. Now, before we go any further, we would like to welcome the presence of the Lord here with us. And I'm going to ask Mr. Gary McKenzie to just do the welcome for me. Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Dakota, and welcome to everyone to the Youth Forum 2022. Pastor Samuel Lewis is the chaplain of the UCC group. Pastor Samuel Lewis is a trained counselor, so when our students have their challenges, Pastor Lewis is the person to go to. And to bring us in location today, Pastor Lewis, please give him a round of applause.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Before I actually pray, may I share something with you that I'm sure will help to motivate you. All right, and my text is taken from Matthew 6, verse 33. You know what it says? Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. I'm sharing my life, a little bit of my life with you. Means that when I accepted Jesus, I wanted to go to school, but had no help. And with God's help, I sent myself to high school. I sent myself to 3 universities. And God has provided in a marvelous way. So I want you, in all your getting, in all that you do, as you begin your life, to begin it with God. Don't leave God out of the program. Seek Him first, and He will provide everything that you need. Okay? That's just my little thing I thought I'd share with you. Shall we pray? Let's get into an attitude of prayer. Could we just stand? Your heads bowed. Shall we pray? Our Heavenly Father and our God, we thank you for these young people. And thank you for their forum that they are about to begin. We speak to your help, your direction, and all that they will achieve. Help them to make you first in everything, and you will provide for them. You will bless them in their new businesses and everything that they do. We are grateful and ask your special blessing on those who lead them and give direction. Bless the activities here today, dear Father, because we dare not move a muscle without your direction. So we give you thanks for what will be done today and how it will impact the people. Bless us now, we pray. In Jesus' name.
Thank you, Pastor Lewis. Now, like I mentioned earlier, we have a packed schedule for you today. We have loads of information for you, and we're hoping that you'll be paying attention to what is being said, because the giveaways go hand in hand with what will be discussed. I am now going to be introducing to you one of our UCC students. She's a second-year tourism and hospitality student. She's also our digital student ambassador, and she will be introducing to us our student council president. Help me to welcome on stage Alicia Thorpe.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alicia Thorpe. I'm a content creator and a model, and I'm so happy to be here with you guys today. I am here to welcome our student council president, Mr. Jerome Robinson. Give him a warm welcome, please.
Thank you, Alicia. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am happy to see everyone, and I know everyone is just looking beautiful here today. All right. So, on behalf of the student council body of this our prestigious institution, UCC, I want to welcome everyone to this, the first annual Youth Forum. Let me also use this opportunity to wish you all a happy Youth Month. We know these struggles and obstacles that we face, especially during the pandemic. However, we all are here today. So yeah, man, we make it this far. We stand with we, the student council body, stand here with you, the future manager, social worker, legal aid workers, and also the social media content creator, just like Alicia. We want to say, and we stand here to echo the sentiment and the team, reigniting, empowering youth for Jamaica 60 and beyond. I'm going to say to you all, I was once sitting in your seat, and I know how you're feeling. You might be nervous and everything, but guess what? I am in fourth year, and I'm seeing the finishing line almost approaching. So do not be afraid. It will be a rocky road, yes, but guess what? We are the youth for the future. We're the youth for tomorrow. So stand tall, stand with your head up, and all the best. And welcome.
A stronger round of applause for Student Council President, Mr. Jerome Robinson. He's not just a man of words, but he's an active, very active student council president. At this time, we will hear from the president of the university, Dr. Alvin Gilford, as he brings his greetings and welcome to the youth forum. Please, a round of applause for Dr. Gilford.
On behalf of the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean Board of Directors, faculty, staff, and students, I am honored today as president of this prestigious institution to extend a very warm welcome to each one of you gathered here in this auditorium. We are indeed blessed and honored to have you here, and I trust that your experience will be a meaningful one and one that will stay with you for a significant portion of your life. As you think about life, I'd like to draw your attention to what I refer to as the parable of the pencil. I hold in my hand here a pencil, although short, but it's quite meaningful. As you move around in life, we see pieces of art that line walls around many halls. We see individuals who have made a good living from using the pencil to draw and to demonstrate. But if we look at the pencil and we think about it, it appears to be quite simple, but it's very significant and profound. First of all, in order for this pencil to produce that extraordinary piece of art, it has to be held in the hand of the artist. And from a standpoint of a parable of the pencil, I want to encourage you and remind you that we can do great things when we are held by the hand of God. When we allow Him to lead us and to direct our path and to direct our lives. When we start each day with Him, remembering that it is not anything in us of our own strength, our own will, our own wisdom, our own abilities, but it's all because of Him. And so allow ourselves as a pencil to be held in the hand of God. Secondly, you would notice the point is quite sharp on this pencil that I'm holding in my hand. But in order to get a point this sharp, there must be some grinding and some sharpening that must occur from time to time. And as a result of that, pain becomes a part of our own lives, a part of our own experiences. And so there'll be some painful experiences from time to time as you grow, as you develop, as you excel, as you go through your studies at school. As some days you'll be very good and you feel very successful about yourself, about the quality of your work. And other times you may question yourself and you may tend to that, no, I cannot make it. Maybe I should give up. But I'd like you to remember at the end of the day, beautiful art that is highly valued is produced as a result of that pain and that difficult situation that you go through. And then on the top here, you would see the eraser. We're going to make mistakes in life as individuals. We are not perfect. We are moving on in life that is filled with challenges, with situations that present themselves before us, and some of which we're not prepared for them. But at the same time, it is our goal and our opportunity to remember that even though mistakes are made, we can take the eraser and erase those mistakes away from us. Don't allow them to keep us down, but to allow us to stay focused and to remember that there are better days ahead. Once we develop a vision of greatness for ourselves, and once you develop a vision of greatness for yourself, you will look beyond the mistakes of today and you will see a better tomorrow and an opportunity for being much better then than you are now. And as we go through life, look at the most important part of the pencil is the lead, and it's on the inside of the wood or with other type of material may be used as a covering for the pencil at any one time. Remember that the most important part of you is within you, your mind, your heart, your thoughts, your being. That opening and that opportunity to excel and to develop into a future that will surprise you and surprise others. You are very valuable to this society here in Jamaica. We care about you. And that's why here at the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, we are so honored that you are here present today. We know that you have a future ahead of you, and you have many choices and opportunities for higher education. But I'd like to encourage you to seriously consider the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean as you move forward. We believe in being thoughtful with our students, in meeting your needs in a way that's above and beyond, in being mindful about who you are as an individual, and making sure that we respond in ways that will show that we care, we love, and we understand. We want you to remember that we are leading with passion, with innovation, with a entrepreneurialism, and with the opportunities for you to grow and be the best that you could be. So as you experience exchanges here today and interact with other students, faculty, and staff, remember that your future is great before you. And even though there may be challenges today, there are brighter days ahead. Thank you and have a great day.
The universe.
From a troubled teenager who was transferred to 4 high schools, narrowly missing expulsion 3 times. She knew what it meant to start poorly, but to finish strongly. Her journey to self-discovery is the foundation of her presentations, demonstrating the power to choose and unchoose who we want to become and to show up with courage, no matter our background, mistakes, and failures. She is the founder and lead mentor for the Teens on Purpose mentorship program, where she serves teens through online coaching and in-person mentorship to help teens to build their self-esteem and personal discipline and to find the purpose, the passion, and courage to lead themselves and their peers. Her philosophy is, I remain under construction. I will not be too proud to review, repurpose, and reposition. But before I call her, and I'm going to call my giveaway lady, Harry. Can you join me up here, please? And I see Carrie has a fun section up.
So, we're gonna yeah.
Be careful, guys. Don't rush. Don't rush. So hold on. Before you even answer, because I'm gonna bump you, and I only have one gift. So are you willing to share the gift?
Earning. So anybody in here feel like them have a passion, them passionate about something? Yeah? You can raise your hand and tell me what you feel you're passionate about. What's what? Psychology. Anybody else? Foreign language. Anybody else? Programming. Okay. So at least we're able to locate the field, and for some of us, the specific stream inside the field that brings us passion. I'm proud of you guys because at that age, I was not as clear as you were on what my own passion was. When I was 17, I was entering my fourth high school. And it's not because the other three were burnt down or closed. I was moved across 4 different high schools because of my behavior.
It wasn't at the standard that could allow me to stay in those institutions for very long. And so what's that could allow me to stay in those institutions for very long? So that was a little bit of feedback that caught me off guard in case the live streamers are wondering what I'm looking at. Right, my behavior was not at a standard that allowed me to stay in those schools for very long. Before they called my mother and asked her to take me from the school because I was about to be either suspended or expelled. And in those days, as I'm sure obtains today, when you get kicked, there is no more good school left after that. Unfortunately, in our education system, we have good schools and we have bad schools. And so when you get expelled, you automatically disqualify yourself from any other good school unless you have like a wealthy parent, which I did not. So they recognized that I would lose many opportunities because I couldn't go to schools that had the right kinds of resources and networks, so I could be successful in life. And they asked my mother to transfer me. So don't bring her back for third form. My mother said, okay. And she moved me to Alpha Academy, which is on South Camp Road. Now, guess what my mother thought would work about Alpha Academy? The nuns. They lived and worked at the high school. And if God is ever in the mix, it must be at the school where the nuns are. And so each morning we went to do our mass and our prayer. And I am sure this was supposed to cleanse and sanctify me and my behavior. I lasted 1 year at Alpha Academy before they called again and said, listen, have to move her. The dean of discipline at the time was also my English literature teacher. And so she saw my potential. And she said, boy, we don't want to have to kick her because it's only bad school will happen after this. At this stage, I had formed my own little gang. And we were walking from South Camp Road into downtown Kingston, wreaking havoc. And the last straw was when they found some graffiti we had written on another school's wall, and they recognized the graffiti from the school walls at Alpha Academy and knew exactly who had done that piece of artwork. And it was a sure shot at punishment for me. And there's only one thing you do to punish that kind of behavior, and they didn't want to have to suspend or expel me. So my mother said, well, guess what? We're gonna move out of Kingston and we're gonna go to country. Because country picnic were good. So we ended up at Manchester High School. I did 4th and 5th form at Manchester High School. I got all my subjects and I qualified to apply for their 6th form program. And when I applied, my principal at the time, Mr. Jasper Gabriel, told my mother that I could not enter their 6th form program despite having the qualifications. And his reason was simply this: while I was good at my schoolwork, I was not good for the school community. And that hurt because I'm a very affable, friendly, sociable person. And so to hear that I was not good for a community, it told me something very, very clear. I was embarrassing myself, I was embarrassing my mother, and I was making it so that I could not exist even in the spaces that I wanted to be. So I was giving myself a rock bang, as you call it, on all the points and all the notes that mattered to me. Making myself proud, making my mother proud, and also contributing positively to where I was. At that stage, I had no choice but to change because this is my last lap now. And I made a promise to myself quietly and to God, if I get accepted into a 6th form program, I will change my whole life. Because by that time, I was picking up little nuggets and little clues about who I was and what felt like my purpose, like what talent and skill I had. If I applied it a little differently, I could get better results. So now at age 16 going on to 17, I'm making a promise to change my life. And I said, if I get in, not doing the same old. And I got accepted to the Carteret College, my 4th high school. quick note, by the time I got to UWI, I had 4 alma maters. So when I ran for my first election at UWI, I could not lose. I had 4 different sets of students who could have voted for me from Merle Grove, Alpha, Chester, DC. So there was an advantage. But up to that point, all it felt like was disadvantage, disadvantage, disadvantage. First thing I want to point out to you, if you are not starting from a position of extreme advantage, do not go out of your way to create disadvantages for yourself. A position of extreme advantage for young people can look like a highly educated family. And so because they have access to lots of education and opportunities, their approach is going to be different. Their ability to negotiate on your behalf is different. Their ability to earn more money is different. The spaces that they occupy and can push you up in, different. Another position of advantage for you could be a family of wealth. So whereas they may not have the smarts and the network, at least they can pay for a door to be opened a little bit longer for you. At least they can pay for you to go to a high quality boarding school or a school overseas if you make it in Jamaica. The money can get them a little bit further than somebody who does not have any money. Another position in our society, and this is not something that I am proud to admit, but it exists, is who you know and who know you. So if you have no education, you don't have no money, and you don't have no links, you can't be creating additional disadvantages to stop you from doing well. And the disadvantage I was creating for myself was locking me out of creating proper networks, because everybody looked at me as a little bad piggy. And I was locking myself out of a quality education, because what if I actually got expelled one of those times? Which school would I graduate from? Would I even be able to sit my CXCs to get my subjects to apply for any jobs? I don't come from a rich family, so my only advantage would have had to be my education. So I ask you to sit down for a little bit and make sure that the choices that you are making about how you spend your time, whether or not you study, whether or not you form a study group and align with people who look like they're going somewhere, if the decisions that you are making are creating advantages for you or creating disadvantages. Because there's no wealth creation without a set of advantages working in your favor. So figure out what you're doing and where it's going to take you. But importantly at this stage, I was figuring out what my passion was. And my passion was creating community. I like to build things with people. And I realized I had a lot of influence and I could speak well and convince other people to move. And I like to use that. But what I was doing is using it to move people in the wrong direction. So in sixth form, I said, well, maybe I can use my voice to move them in the right direction. And I changed how I was using my power. Ask yourself this question: what power, influence do I have now? What do you have as power and influence right now? You might feel like you're powerless, but being on a university campus is evidence that you have an advantage and you have some power, which is education. An ability to learn, an ability to learn quickly. Maybe you amass information faster than everybody else in the room. But where do I have power and where do I have influence? And how can I use that to positively impact the people who are in my community? Which school is this that has just entered the room? Bridgeport High School. Giving yourself a round of applause. And want to clap them as well. Welcome to our session. We have any sixth formers in the building? Oh, all sixth formers. Excellent. So I realized what my passion and my skill was. I could have talk and I could have get people to move. So I joined the debate society. And in joining the debate society, I was able to use the voice I had to create impact and also improve my reputation. Because now I was speaking on behalf of the school, speaking on winning trophies, speaking on increasing the prestige of the Carteret College. So now people saw me as a leader. And I wanted that for myself. Instead of being a bad leader, I was being seen as a good leader, moving people in the right direction. I continued to use that skill after sixth form when I went to university. And I go back to sharing with you the importance of knowing what your advantage is. When I got into university, while I had many alma maters around the place, I had not built a strong enough network. And those schools that I attended, while they are excellent schools, they were not the kind of schools that had past student trees at UA. Now, you know your school has arrived when it has its own tree and its own bench up at UA, right? So there's a KC tree, there's a Woolmer's tree, there's a Calabar tree, and there's a bench for Immaculate, and there's a bench for George's. Everybody have them like a tree and them like a bench. None of my school, them never have no tree and no bench. And gazebo. Some schools take over our old gazebo. So on Thursday, I just feed them tie alone, sit down under the gazebo. So people from those schools knew where to find the persons who were on campus, who had experience, who were seniors, who had influence. And they could step into those spaces and know, say, by the quality of my tie, I can know myself and they will know me. And so you're automatically embraced in that big, bold, new space. I didn't have that. But what I had, my voice. And so I continued to use the voice, even though I didn't feel like I fit in quite yet. No, I was a little timid, and I have to admit this part up front. The courage I have now, I didn't wake up with the courage. The courage I had came from saying yes when I felt that I could still fail at it. The courage I have now came from me saying what? Yes, even when I felt that I would fail at it. I was willing to put myself in the way of failure just so I could try, just so I could learn, just so I could test if what I thought I knew, I actually did know. How many of us in this room are too afraid to try because we're not sure if we're going to win? Raise your hand. Yeah, and I love that the grown-ups are also raising their hands. We are afraid to try because we're not sure we're going to win. Passion don't work that way. Passion is not a guarantee. Purpose is not a guarantee. Profit, if you ask the entrepreneurs in this room, is also not a guarantee, right? We are taking risks and trusting ourselves to learn in the process. So when there's something for you to say yes to, an offer on the table, an invitation to speak, somebody telling you to apply for a job and you're worried that, boy, you're not qualified, and maybe when they look at your resume, they're going to reject it, so you don't even bother apply. You find her? Is she that? The fact that you don't believe that by trying you could learn something, that the only way to win in a situation is if you get what you want, you're preventing yourself from building courage, because that's what courage comes from. Trying, even if you think you're going to fail, because you can still see value if you don't win, if you don't get exactly what you're going in there for. So whatever it is that you feel afraid of doing, of trying, of exploring, remember that you only lose when you choose not to learn. I think people lose by choice, except in an Olympic race where you absolutely, positively come last, like you really did not win the race. In life, through our experiences, you only lose in a situation where you have chosen not to learn. You lose with your money because you chose not to learn budgeting. You lose in your relationships because you choose not to learn boundaries. You lose even in your education because you choose not to learn time management. You're losing only because you're choosing not to learn. So when I do an exam, you know, and a few of those catch me at UA, and I don't pass the exam, might you think me I go pack up my thing them and leave UA? I'm not leaving. I have an exam to do and I'm not sure if I'm going to get 100%. You think I'm going to sleep out the exam? I'm going in there. If 10% is in there for me, I'm going in there for my 10%. What do you mean? I can't leave my 10% on the table. If I even bring up my GPA by 0.036, we're going to make some movement and some progress. But guess what I also know? Unless I go do that exam, I don't know if I know 10%. I don't know what percent I know. So after I have done it, and I look at the 10%, and I say, boy, 90 more did left back for me get. It puts me in a position to grow, because now I can choose to figure out how to get that 90%. So even though I fail the test, I not fail UA. Why you think I not fail UA? Because the 100% I'm not sure about never stop me from going into each exam and giving it my best and preparing before I go in and being willing to resit and try again if I never get one. That's the approach we have to take in life. I don't know the 100% answer for this situation, but I'm trusting myself to learn something from it. By exploring this opportunity, I know how much percent I know and how much percent I don't know. And then when I get those results, I can choose now to close up that gap. You only lose when you choose not to learn. So I tell myself, so even though I go to UWI and I don't know everything and I don't know everybody, I'm not going to lose in this space. I got an invitation to try out for the debating society there. Now, again, remember, me not come from one of them bossy school there. A 4 school I come from, you know, if you add them up, them IPAM bossy together, you know, cumulatively when you average it out. But my school did not have the kind of national reputation and kind of emotional charge and, you know, the vibration when they said the name in the room when everybody just kind of said, I remember listening to that one, a campaign, them said them come from. So he said, no. So I had to prove what I was worth because there was no school name that was going to automatically stamp the approval on my forehead. So Crystal did have to prove Crystal in the rooms that she stepped into. How many of you know you're going to have to prove what your name mean and the quality that you're bringing into the spaces? Yeah, we have to go do that. We have to do that and we have to be willing to do it. So them say, apply, audition. I said, all right, I will audition. And I was auditioning against persons who were, you know, nationally known for being exceptional debaters. I used to watch them on TV. I used to wish that I could debate like them. And I was auditioning in that same stream of debaters. If you made the team, you would be selected to attend the World Universities Debate Championship. And I'm never sure if I'm going to make it, but what me say, me not lose. So if me never make it through in the first tryout, one next year is going to come and me I have the experience from the last time, so me can make it the second time. I was choosing to try. And the passion I had for speaking, the passion I had for learning new information and expressing that with conviction, that was enough to move me into a space where I did not have a guarantee that I would be chosen. But Crystal don't choose herself already, and she's gonna go. I made the team. I made the team to travel to another country with no passport. Like, you have to understand how really uncertain I was that I was even gonna make the team. Didn't have a passport. My only ID at the time was the school ID. Who is in that position now? Yeah, if me ever get catching a SOE them time there, trouble me, you know. Because I couldn't really prove to you that me is who me say me is. And I'm going where I say I'm going, except for my school ID. And so I made the team. Called my mommy. I said, Mommy, we are going to foreign. I made the team. No, I need a passport. Resources are scarce. Mommy, I have to call uncle in New York. And uncle send a little thing for we through Western Union. And we pay for the express passport. And we pay for the US visa. And we went in and we made our application and we get through. Now, I remember coming from 4 different high schools, 4 different networks, 4 different social spaces where I knew I was either lower middle class, I'm brushing the top of lower class. When my colleagues used to talk about what they did for the summer, me just have to sit down and listen. Imagine, say me did that with them. Because them go up on plane when me never see it. Them gone to Florida. Them knew some of them, but them have. Them tell you what them walking at Target. And then pick it up. And they were in Walmart. And then pick up this. And them go Chuck E. Cheese. And them and the rat in there. I run up and down. Them gone. What the place name with the whole heap of rides them? Disneyland, 6 Flags. 1 flag, me know the Jamaican flag. Them gonna 6 Flags. So when them come and attack, me just have to, yeah, sounds fun. I just imagine myself there and ask me follow-up questions so I can make up the dream in my head. Smile and nod. Never imagine that one day that could be me, because when we forget money from for buy a plane ticket, and even if we get there, how we gonna get the money to go to these places? But I was always happy to hear the story, so I could envision myself enjoying it through their eyes, living vicariously. My first trip on a plane, I remember saying to Mommy, you know, the flight that I'm going to take, I'm not going to Florida. And she said, where are you going? I said, we're going to Europe. We're actually going to Turkey. And my mother was very tickled by it. But in my head, I was saying, look how when me there at high school, we used to feel like saying, I'm not smart, I never go Florida, right? I never go New York. And now on this first trip out of Jamaica, I'm seeing way beyond where anybody else could have ever told me a story. I get to see for myself what nobody in my network had ever seen. I was going to Europe. I know we call the US and Canada big foreign. At that time, I was calling Europe bigger foreign, right? So we got to Turkey, participated in the competition, came back. Year 2, remember year 2, me did think me gonna make the team, you know. Year 2, I come back and I try out again. And this time, guess where we go? No, man, we're done with Europe now. We're going to Africa. Yeah, man, we were in Botswana. And in Botswana, that was another moment where I got to test myself to see if I could choose Crystal, if I could believe in myself, even when I'm looking at other people who I believe in more. If I could believe in myself, even when I was looking at and competing against people who I believed in more. So I'm looking at Cambridge University, I'm looking at Oxford, I'm looking at Princeton, I'm looking at Yale, I'm looking at all of these fancy universities that, again, in my dream, I would be able to attend one of these. And we're in the public speaking championships. These competitions are usually won by those schools. And my debate coach said to me, you're entering this year, because the year before in Turkey, I pretended that I fell asleep and missed the audition. Little cowardness catch me. Right? Brain couldn't handle so much at once. So I said, you know, I'm not going to do this one. And he insisted, told me from we're in Jamaica, you're entering because you have what it takes to win. In my mind, has anybody ever encouraged you to pursue something that you're very, very good at? And when they're telling you to do it in your mind, you're saying, poor you, it's just something to make me feel nice. You think you can set me up? Set me up, but if I'm going to do it, we can't do it. But thanks for the encouragement. And when you say thanks for the encouragement, you really mean it, like thanks for the encouragement. But you and I both know that's not happening. That's how I felt hearing him tell me, you have what it takes to win. But I said, all right, let me try, because if I don't get it this year, next year I would have the experience to try again. That is how I look at moments where I'm not sure how it's going to work out. Let me try now, learn what I need to learn, so I can try a little better next time. Entered, made it through round 1. Me and my teammate, both excited. We're on to round 2. Wrapped round 3. I was the only person who made it out of round 3, I think, to semifinals. Made it to the final night now. This is where everybody is gathered, formally dressed, and ready to hear their finalists. I give my presentation, I sit down, and I say, at least me make it this far. And if me lose, nobody in the day from Gleaner or Observer for write the story. So them can't know if me no go back to Jamaica. Go tell them. Me there all the way to Africa. Nobody don't know what's going on over here. So waited it out. And on the final night of the competition, they announced the winners. And they didn't even get my name right. So I definitely wasn't sure if it was me. They called out Christelle something. I don't even remember what the last name was. And I sat there and my team members went, that's you. I said, no, it's not. I knew it was me. There was nobody else with a Cri name, right? But here's what the imposter syndrome in me was saying. Sit down and wait till you're sure say are you before you go up there, take picture, smile, and then take it back. Because in that moment, I still could not believe that you put me up against those bright white boys and girls from Princeton, from Oxford, from Yale, from Cambridge, and me, the little girl from UA, where every time I say where I come from, them ask me, UWE? What does that mean? And I have to break it down. The University of the West Indies, where is that? In the Caribbean? Oh, Jamaica? I said, absolutely. If it's one time the Caribbean is Jamaica, it's today, it's Jamaica. I had won. I received it. I came back. I was looking at there's a framed photograph that they gave us. I'm looking at it. I still can't believe. And my coach comes up to me and says, how do you feel? And I said to my coach, I still can't believe. And he hold my shoulder and looked me in my eye, Mr. Laurie, and he said, your playing small does not serve the world. I said, well, talk about calling up the God and the God energy in me. I straightened my back same time and I said, you know what? Me playing small don't help nobody. I win and I win and I go and stand up in my win. Now, coming back into Jamaica with that energy is a little dangerous. And I don't know if you guys know or have experienced for yourself winning and being told to go small up yourself and humble pie it out because you don't want to look like you're brag and boast and show off. Remember, when you lose, when you suffer, when you can't find a victory, when it's hard and tough like Carib cement concrete, they're able to see that. And they're happy to tell you, share what you're going through. Where 2 or 3 are gathered, the Lord is there. So come and let us pray for you. Stand up in the middle of the church and tell you what is going wrong so we can stretch our hands in communion as you struggle for the hardship. But me no know if you ever hear altar call it for the winner then. I've never been to church and heard the pastor say, those of you who are winning in the community of faith, those of you who were able to make more money than you plan to make this month, those of you who were able to expand on your house from the blessing of the Lord, those of you, me never hear that call there yet for us to come and lay hands and bless your victory, because we are taught to be so self-conscious about the things that are good in us and good for us that we don't stand in them with confidence. I want you to know that it is that social learning that makes you timid about standing in your passion. You're good at it, but nobody opens the space and give you permission to talk about it, to express it, to do it without fear of judgment, to do it and get paid. Because if you're going to do it for free, absolutely, we have room for it. Because we're also teaching you to undervalue the skill and undervalue the passion that you have by continuing to offer your skill for exposure. As if JPS receives exposure as payment at the end of the month. So you are programmed to think that the things that come naturally, the things that are good, the things that could have given you the advantage, the things that equal a win, the things that could have make you money, those are the things you must be quiet about. Don't brag. And if you're going to gift it to the world, it must be a gift. Do it for free and allow the Lord to bless it on the back end. I come against that spirit of poverty. Passion, purpose, profit. You are going to accept when you are good at something. You are going to share with the people around you the thing that you are good at. You're going to price it if it's even $1. Get used to saying, it's going to cost $5. It is going to cost $15. And over time, you start to tell them it's $1,500. And as you realize that people are willing to pay the $1,500 and even more than the $1,500, one day you're going to be able to say $15,000. Until another day, you're able to write a check for $150,000 to give back to your school because you have earned from the passion and the skill that you came into this world with. We are not going to pretend that there is not a seed inside of us that could earn us or wealth. Wealth is not a bad thing. And importantly, for a generation of people coming off of a slave plantation where we were never allowed to own anything, where our labor was taken, there was not even a negotiation of us getting money for building a British empire. Like they don't even want us to talk about it. We must just forgive. Coming from that experience, psychologically, I know it is hard for us to think that the work we do has value and the space we take up in this world is just as full of worth as the space that a white body takes up in this world. It's equal in value and it's equal in worth. So psychologically, we have to go break down how we see ourselves in relation to others. And that is what almost prevented me from standing up in that competition in Botswana. I was looking at all the people around me who were white. And I automatically thought they were better than me because they were. But if I was in Jamaica, you couldn't tell me, say, me feel small in front of Caucasian crowds. I thought I felt confident until I put myself in a position. I realized that I had issues believing in myself as automatically as I believed in them. So I think it was the Wakanda energy being in Botswana. But just say, you know what, I'm going to tweet. Because if there's anywhere I'm going to try a thing, it's going to be in the land. Can't make the ancestors ashamed of me. But that is something that we battle with here. And you look around and see it. How we feel about our skin, how we feel about our hair, how we feel about even the talents that we have. Just the raw talent we have to sing and dance and create art. We don't value that very much. We don't treat our creative industry with much respect. Because that's the thing that we have created, you know. The thing that is 100% Jamaican is our creative industry. Our music, our dance, our talk, our dress, all of that is ours. But you see, because it is 100% ours, we don't value it enough to level it up and pay people what they're worth in the creative industries. Other industries that we don't own as much in, tourism, have higher value because of who it serves and who those investors are and who creates value in those spaces. But you see, the creative industry, you think is for fun and joke, them Hawaiian man there sing reggae, and I win up the Grammy them. It's not joke. It's the quality of what we create out of our hearts and our spirits. So that's my little psychological speech for the morning. You have to believe in yourself more than how you believe in whoever other is. Because you have power and you have greatness in you. So what is that seed? What is that unique thing that you were born with and you feel it? Every time the topic comes up, every time you see something related to it on your timeline, every time you see a book or a newspaper article that speaks to that particular field of interest or talent, you just want to get going in it. What is that? Is there anybody in the room that can identify it or already has? Talking, expressing. Do you do poetry or drama or theater? So she's a great example, right? And I want to use you as an example about how we get to express our talents in deliberate ways. How many times have you seen like requests for auditions for shows, for commercials, you see her face? How many times have you seen those? Lots of times. How many times have you applied to them? 0 times? So that is usually one of the moments that we can take action, but we choose not to because somebody out there might be a little better. They're only picking 5. Maybe I won't be in the 5. Maybe I don't have a face for TV or a voice for radio. And so we tell ourselves that we cannot do it, even though it is the thing that she knows she's passionate about and takes every opportunity to do. Is there anybody else like that? You know what you're great at, you know what you're passionate about, and when the opportunity comes, you don't take action. Yeah. You want to share with us what that thing is? Writing. Oh my goodness, the world have work for you. In terms of content creation, caption writing, blog post writing, transcribing videos into articles, the world has work for you. And that is money you can make right now before you even have a TRN. You can just start making that money right now. Is there anybody else like, or 2 ladies? Any young man? Because sometimes I know the young men are here and don't share. Producing, as in video or music, the world has work for you. Have you ever had an opportunity to produce something or to share what you've produced and you kind of say, maybe no, it's not the time? Yeah. What, you have a rhythm now or some rhythms that you've created? What do you think is the closest opportunity for you to share that? Like if you had no fear, no worry, you could have done that right now and get the rhythm in this place or in that person's hand. To get it played. You know anybody who works on radio
Oh, you want him to use the microphone. I'm sorry. Yes, there are persons streaming live who need to hear. So sorry to put you on the spot there. We're going to get a microphone in your hand. Right. What is the fearless step that you think you could take to get your production out there? Oh.
You can hear now? Yeah. I mean, if we can like play it, like, you can hear.
Well, he did say he's producing the music. He's not going to be performing the music. We'll talk a little bit more. You're going to have to direct your artists the same way. So tell him, talking at the mic. I don't think it's him, you know. I think it's the mic. If anybody beside him can just check and see. The battery.
It's on. Yeah,
okay.
Maybe you're not talking loud because I can hear myself.
All right.
I mean, if like I can play like the rhythm on a platform where artists are, they can hear it and probably like want it or voice it.
And the democracy that now exists in people busing, right? You see how they banned all the bad example, right? But it's an example I'm sure you guys understand. They banned a particular type of music from radio, the chopper music and the references to scamming from radio. And in like a week, an artist bus with like 5, 6, 7 different songs just straight about the scamming and there's a science. Will you take me bucky client? And he no longer has access to that space where we thought you needed it to bus. Him just go to YouTube. So one of the things I want to encourage you to do, taking the opportunity to encourage this action, Bridgeport High School is located in Portmore City, right? So I was going to do the city, right? There are a lot of entertainers and artists who are in Portmore. Know that for a fact. You used to live in Portmore. The Gaza and the Plaza. You can find people on your school campus who will record a song for you. If there's an artist, you know an artist at Bridgeport High School? You have an artist over there will sing or DJ? Yeah, I'm still not call name. Invite the artist to come voice for one year already. Maybe it's another school, maybe it's somebody in your community. You have one, yeah, invite them to voice on your rhythm. And then you post it on YouTube and you go and share it with your friend them. And just do it with one. See how people respond to one. See how your confidence is boosted by just one. And take that approach when the second inspiration comes for the second rhythm. And just keep doing, just keep trying. Anything that doesn't work with the first one, it teaches you something as you make the second one. And maybe you never get the tuning right on the first mix, it teaches something for the second one. But start. Don't make anything, especially fear, stop you from starting what you are passionate about and expressing the skill and the talent that you're born with. The other thing I want you to consider is really the duty you have to bring something into the world. There are some things that cannot happen if it's not you do it. Like you just have a calling on your life. A product is to be created like Steve Jobs was supposed to create Mac and the iPhone. That was just his thing to do. The person who created Samsung, it was their job to say, let me create this thing. And they did it at a time when there were lots of appliances in the world. They could have said, boy, the world will need another fridge. The world will need another stove or a washing machine. But they created something that really and truly made an impact. So even if you think there are many people in the space doing what you're already doing, there's a way that you do it. There's an energy and a passion and a special edge that you bring to it because you're so passionate, because you were raised how you were raised, because you were exposed to things that you were exposed to, because your brain just have this particular way of interpreting information. You are going to do it or nobody else has ever done it. There were many people who were poets before Miss Lou. But who did do it like Miss Lou? Suppose Miss Lou did say, boy, you know, enough people out there say 2 poems in a patois. I mean, I think them need no more patois poetess. Who wouldn't have Miss Lou? Suppose Ding Dong did say, boy, enough dancing song I sing around so I'm gonna have to sing the dancing song. Where would we be without the dances that we have now from Ravers Clavers? Suppose you see and did sit down and say, boy, I saw if I run fast already. I broke some 10 on the track. I need a more fast runner in Jamaica. Jamaica have enough fast runner. Where would we be? Suppose Elaine and Shelley did say, can't broke Flojo record, so might as well just try and see how far it go. Merlene Atty don't have the name already for the female sprinter for Jamaica. So Jamaica need another fast woman. Where would we be? So there is something that you can do even if it looks like others are already doing it. Even if you think they're already doing it so well. There's a way you can do it. It's different. And that can allow you to make a mark. So don't suppress your passion because you think it is the same as somebody else's expression of passion. What you have in your spirit and in your heart is different. And you have to trust yourself to try. And you only lose by choice. So you don't have to choose to lose even when you don't win in the way that you're expecting to win. Do we have a deal? Yeah, man. Can we shake on it? All right. So I do this thing and it works out for me. We win. I come back to Jamaica. You know, the people are calling and they want to quote and they want to interview me. And this person wants me to come here and that person wants me to do this. And I'm like, you know, my playing small does not serve the world. They are inviting me and I'm going to say yes. Have I ever done this thing before? No. Do I have anybody who I can ask to teach me how to do it? Can't really reach out to anybody right now, but I'm going to try. Got a call one day from Francois Saint-Just, may his soul rest in peace. And he said, I want you to come and host a debating show on RJR. Now, I know this generation might not appreciate what it means to do something on RJR, right? But it was, I mean, I couldn't find the words and I called my mommy first of all to discuss the fact Francois Saint-Just had my number, like the Francois from Fame Mommy. But they also wanted me on Jamaica's #1 radio station, like that station grow the whole country. And I said, you know what I said? Yes, yes. I'm going to broadcast to millions of people a week time. But guess what? Whatever I don't know, I will learn. And if Francois asks me, Francois must see something in me. And Francois can also teach me what I don't know. So I kept saying yes. Got an audition invitation for a TV show. Never hosted on TV yet. And you know what I said? Yes. And I ended up hosting Nyamings for 10 seasons, 10 years, one of Jamaica's longest running shows. Just by saying, yes, don't have the experience, I never go school feet, but I trust myself to learn. And as long as your trust in yourself is bigger than the fear you have of failure, of criticism, of being the only person standing up out there, as long as your confidence in yourself is bigger than the fear of yourself, you can't lose. And the yeses led me where I am today. Now, I've had to say a few no's, and some yeses didn't end where I thought they would end. But I love music, and I love music to kind of be my language sometimes. You know, I have a song where it says, beat and teach. In my mind, when I think about challenges and failures, I say to myself, it can beat me, like be rough, be difficult, but it can't beat me, like hold me down and under pressure. Can't do that. And before it beat me, hold me down, have me under pressure, it has to teach me. Before it beat me, it has to teach me. And I will make sure I learn from everything, even if it's something that did not work out the way I planned. If you trust yourself in that way, it changes everything for you. And the last point I want to make around expressing and pursuing your purpose, if it is done in a strategic and deliberate way, it leads to profit, which is something that I'm sure you'll hear more on throughout the course of the day. Money is something that allows you to buy freedom. Some of us look at money as a thing that buys us a new phone, but what you're really buying is freedom from what you did not have without the phone. Freedom from having to borrow people's phone to make a phone call. So the money gives you the freedom to buy a phone so you can not have to do the other thing you were doing when you didn't have one. When you take your money and buy a house, it is freedom to choose which room you want to sleep in and which bed, so nobody can tell you if you stay there and tell you when to come out. It's freedom that you're buying with the money. And I believe we all could use a little more freedom. So don't be afraid to earn from your talent and your passion. But think about what you're earning as well as the opportunity to set a foundation for the generation that will come after you. Remember, like myself, some of you in here don't come from a big inheritance. Let me just do a quick wealth check. Is there anybody in here who comes from a very wealthy family who has some money put down for you to take on life? Somebody just hits them teeth. Yeah, that's a yes, or you're asking me something? Okay. And you can let me know as well if they're gonna do questions at the end. I'd be happy to accommodate. Yeah, okay.
Testing. Okay. So I was saying that yes, I wouldn't describe it as wealthy, but there is some money put down for me. While I don't look at it as an advantage because banks can collapse and the financial sector can one day just go. Yeah. And so I don't really like to look on it like that. I say that, it's a nest egg that I'm not going to touch for like a hot while, or I don't intend to touch. That wasn't my question. My question was, I saw on the flyer for the youth forum that you were an author. Is there anywhere, what are the names of your book, bracket books? And B, is there anywhere we could purchase these? Are they on Amazon, Kindle, hardcover?
Katie, you want to answer this one? So the answer is yes. I do have books. And we're in discussion with Katie around how we want to distribute that. But for now, if you want to purchase a book, anybody in the room, the name of the book that's on Amazon is Kill Fear, The Art of Courageous Living. So you can purchase that on Amazon. But I also have a planner, a life planner. The 2023 version is going to be available this weekend. So you can purchase a planner as well at thesuccessfarm.com/planner. Thank you for asking. All right. So I'm looking forward to hear from Katie how she's going to handle that, because we do have some copies that we'll be making available to the UCC team. So she'll share more on that part. Okay. Right. So the question I had asked was to lead me to this point. Many of us in here have the duty of creating the inheritance. Many of us in here have the duty of creating the inheritance. So here is what I know about where I come from. My grandmother was a dressmaker. Dressmaker to the point where sometimes my mother's shoes for school is the scraps from her Queen School uniform, make her shoes. So she wasn't like my grandmother bad. She used the fabric for make the shoes. In those days, they called the shoes ballerina. So if you make it good enough, I'm assuming there was cardboard at the sole and then the cloth around it. It looked like one of the ballet shoes that the other persons were wearing to school. So my mother got school art, but it's the scraps from her school uniform. Make the shoes. My grandma was a dressmaker. My grandma did not have access to the things I have access to now. So she could not have created in the way I could have created. She did not have social permission to do some of the things that I have permission to do now. She did not have exposure in the way I had exposure to know the things that are possible at this age. So she could not have created certain things for us. But she laid the best foundation that she could have laid with the skills that she had as a dressmaker. My mother's skill was around math. Very good with the math in her brain. But remember, grandma didn't have no whole heap of money. So at 5th form, my mother couldn't go to 6th form. 6th form costs more money because, as you know, the uniform changed. So we need to find new money for new fabric. So you couldn't reuse the stuff from the last year as you may have done in previous years. Book, if you don't know enough people where they are 6th form already, there's no book to borrow. And my grandma couldn't buy it. And the school fee, whatever you would have paid for 1st to 5th form, it is gonna be more for 6th form programs. And then finally, another round of examinations. I think at that stage it's called your GCE. Called Kate now. That's what it was, GCE. So grandma would have had to pay for fresh exam after mommy did her CXC. I don't think that's what it was called at the time, but CXC. Never have it. So my mother had to use her good maths brain, manage her money well, and with 2 young children, not after fifth form, eventually. Mother had when she was 18. But in that space between 19 and 23, save her money with her children and put herself back to school to get her higher level qualification so she could go work at a bank and then make more money again and then create her like a side hustle and all of these things she was able to do till she can buy a car, till she can send her penny them go prep school, till she can put money aside for savings and things like that. Things my grandmother could not do. So my mother laid the best foundation she could lay with the skills and the talents that she had. Now each generation has a dream for the one after them. My grandmother knew that she wanted her children to go to school, high school, have to go. She stopped at primary, her kids have to go to high school. My mother had a dream. She stopped at high school, fear them have to go to university. So what is going to be my dream? I have to make sure someone lay a foundation so that my daughter can go much further than me. So if she wants to start a business, she don't have to look at a bank. She can look at some kind of inheritance, some kind of nest egg. If she don't want to touch it, she can choose not to touch it. But I understand that my job right now is to lay a financial foundation for the next generation. You have a duty to create the inheritance. If you're in this room with me, I believe that you have an advantage greater than your mother or father had before you. Gonna do a quick privilege check. How much of you in here have parents who graduated from high school? Keep your hand up. How many of you have parents who made it to sixth form? Keep your hand up. How many of you have parents who graduated university? Keep your hand up. How many of you have parents who have an inheritance waiting for you? So you see where your next step is, right? They have done all that they could do with what they had in their time and make sure that you reach this far. So you can't make the buck stop right there, so you have to push it a little further. And the best way to do that is with the skills you already have. The best voice to listen to is that inner voice that tells you, wow, I'm good at this. Wow, I love this. This comes so naturally to me. The best way to identify it is to listen deeply, not in a dismissive way. When people give you a compliment on work that you have done, boy, I always twist my ear, but when you twist my ears, like the twist them can't pull out. And we learn to twist ear. Don't just listen to that dismissively. My auntie teach me how to twist ear. You have a skill. Is that something you can teach? Charge people for come learn how to twist ear tight like you. Do you want to open up a business? Rent the shop, and on weekends or evenings, you make people pay you to twist them ear tight. And if that's not something you want to do for the rest of your life, when the shop gets big and famous and everybody come in there anyway, you can sell it to an investor who would like to buy into your hairdresser business. Don't take the compliments that people are giving you lightly and flippantly. Hear what is in there as a possible passion and purpose for you to pursue and build wealth. Because it is your duty, I believe, this generation, with all we have, all we know, all the tools, all the technology, all the removal of borders and barriers, how much information we can have, even if we're not at a good school, we can still access information. Some of us can get certification and never walk into a university, just doing some online courses. You don't have an excuse to not push that book a little further. Stand in what you know you are good at. Embrace that as something that is yours to own. Look for ways that you can use it to serve and how others are telling you that you serve with it already. And don't be shy about pricing that skill and that talent so that you can generate the money that buys you freedom to sleep a little later, to not have to take taxi, but to hire a chauffeur to drive you where you want to go. To not have to worry about how every bill will be paid because you have an account that automatically the bills get deducted and you don't have to worry because you know you have that put down. To not have to worry how food will be on the table and how your children will put food on their table because you did the best that you could do and laid the best foundation you could lay with the skills and the talents that you have. Do we have a deal? I'm trusting everybody who hears my voice today and encounters this message to do what can sometimes feel scary to do by trusting yourself to learn as you go. You don't need all the answers. You don't need the cheerleaders. And you don't need to win all the time to see yourself as a winner. So if any of those things are holding you back, you don't know everything yet, figure out how you're going to learn it. If everything somebody says, stop you in your tracks, pause and ask yourself why you need that affirmation to begin with. Why you can't move if 10 people not moving with you. Why if that one person don't agree that it's a good idea, you don't pursue it as an idea that's worth your time. Because we can't allow the voice of the people on the sidelines to stop we who are on the track trying to run and win our race. And accept that you're not going to win every single time. But part of the victory of life is choosing to learn instead of choosing to lose and getting up one more time, just one more time, to try one more time and seeing where that effort can take you. I leave you with a harvest principle of mine. It's called the harvest principle because I believe in nature teaching us how things grow. I don't think there's any greater example of how things grow than looking at nature and how things grow. Without permission, without company, without a guarantee. The flower just bloom. The flower just do. Wait, no, it's supposed to do. It don't worry if it's going to live 5 years. It don't worry if it can make 6 other flowers. It don't worry if the person coming in the garden going want to touch it and smell it, or if it going want to touch and smell another flower. It just grows. It does its job. The harvest principle I want to leave with you. You reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. Your passion can allow you to reap many things in life. But it comes from a decision that you're making to sow. To put it in the ground as a seed, to water it diligently every day, to do what you need to do to protect your farm or to protect your little garden, and give it your best on your side of the fence.